Right then, welcome back to Maniacal Mac Chats with Vito. We're on part 7, lucky number 7. Thank you so much for coming back, my dude. I really appreciate it. Today's movie we're going to talk about in particular is directed by Liam Regan. It was made in association with Liam's work company, Refused Films and Troma Entertainment. This one is Eating Miss Campbell. It came out in 2022, which is actually a spiritual successor to My Bloody Banjo. After the events what happened on My Bloody Banjo, what were your feelings when Liam hit you up and said, I want you to play Mr. Sawyer again in a new film? Like, what was going through your head at that time, my friend?
Well, after My Bloody Banjo ended, was this like period for a while there where we would like flex our imaginations, so to speak. And we would
Yeah.
like come up with like, ideas for Mr. Sawyer coming back or Mr. Sawyer returns or Mr. Sawyer faces Ronnie or Mr. Sawyer, teams up with Ronnie to go after Peltzer. There was like all these ideas that would just kind of come up, like through like the 8 years or like eight maybe 8.
Yeah, seems around 8 years, around,
Yeah,
give or take around that.
8 years between the movie, between My Bloody Banjo and Eating Miss Campbell. We just kind of like, just play with our imaginations. Just throw around ideas, So when he actually was like brought up, like me actually coming back and playing Mr. Sawyer, I was like, oh, okay. Because he kind of massaged Mr. Sawyer into a story that didn't have Mr. Sawyer. So,
Okay.
yeah, it was like he wasn't there, then he was there.
Right, so like when you originally wrote it, was Sawyer wasn't originally in the script? Is that what you're saying? And he sort of like brought him in on a second draft or so?
Yeah, yeah, it was something like that. Where it's like, he was like telling me, he was like he messaged me. He's working on this other script, and he was just kind of like, I think I want to bring back Mr. Sawyer, and I was like, oh, okay, you know. And then once again, it was the funnel of ideas of figuring out exactly what Mr. Sawyer would do and what Mr. Sawyer, how he would be, and it was just like, oh wow, okay, here we are. I'm gonna play Mr. Sawyer again because if you remember, I had mixed feelings about how I played Mr. Sawyer in My Bloody Banjo
Yeah.
because I got sick and it became about finishing the movie and not so much playing with Mr. Sawyer and kind of like exploring Mr. Sawyer. It was just about like getting the job done and doing right by Liam. So the idea of coming back to Mr. Sawyer was like, ooh, all right,
Yeah.
wrong with that, right? You know what I mean? So wrong in my mind, in my actor intrusive thoughts, way
Yeah,
where
of
it's
course,
like
mate. Yeah,
everything
yeah.
I do, yeah, the actor mindset is like everything I do is shit and everything I say is shit. Nobody should look at me. I'm just shit. You know.
Nah, you crazy, man. You crazy. You crazy.
Come on! Bad! Come on! Bad! Come on! Come on!
So were you like, when he came up to you, because he said he was like, when I spoke to him, he said he was like a spiritual successor before I watched it. So in my head, I was like, oh, it might have a reference or two here. But watching the film, it is a sequel because you play Mr. Sawyer. There's reoccurring characters. Although like the situation of the like story is different, you are Mr. Sawyer. It's not like you're playing a different version of him. You are Mr. Sawyer in you. So it is actually a sequel to My Bloody Banjo, just in a kind of a strange way, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue because like up one open for the working man. I mean, it's all about how you look at it. I mean, and plus we are in the age of, or we're at the end of, but around the time of the movie, we're entering the multiverse. Where
Yeah.
everybody was like, multiverse on TV, multiverse in the movies, all kinds of multiverse movies. But the idea that maybe this is just a different, a different, dimension
Yeah.
where these are very similar characters because, like, depending on what version of My Bloody Banjo that you watch, either Mr. Sawyer lives or he gets a throat slit.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
Yeah.
So, it, like, you can have it both ways. Yeah, it could just be some world where Sawyer and Dietz survived, and Dietz has got a lot of plastic surgery. Somehow, able to come back from face melting. Or it's just a different dimension where these characters are just a little bit maybe reflections of themselves, so to speak. Where they have a lot of traits, but a reflection isn't exactly you. A reflection is so that's why maybe this Sawyer is not exactly Sawyer we knew before.
Which actually, on that note, although he's still quite mad in here, he has no problem killing people. They do actually, sort of humanize him a little more compared to My Bloody Banjo. He's still a mad guy, as I say, but it's as I said, it's Mr. Sawyer, but like you said, it is a different version of him. There's still, your traits of Mr. Sawyer, your classic whoopsie fucking daisy quotes him or not, but he is a bit different in this one. How did you actually go about sort of saying, I want Mr. Sawyer to be the Mr. Sawyer I know, but also quite different in this? How much input to yourself did you have with Liam saying, here's an idea, maybe I should tackle it this way? How did that go with the direction with Liam? Did he sort of give you the instructions you followed, or did you give you know what, maybe here's an idea to change Mr. Sawyer, but kind of keep him as we know him? Because that must have been quite hard to do.
I mean, now Liam and I are fans of professional wrestling.
My name is VITO TRIGO, and I'm playing. Wait, look at you. Yeah, sorry. I'm VITO TRIGO, and I'm playing Mr. Sawyer. I already played the character once. We did it, and it was fun. And it was also say relationships. The relationship I have with Liam is a pal. Do anything for a pal.
Yeah.
In professional wrestling, you got your baby faces, you got your heels, you got your tweeners, the guys that are the anti-heroes, so to speak, where they go back and forth between being a good guy and a bad guy. And Liam has always saw Mr. Sawyer, even in My Bloody Banjo. Because if you look at My Bloody Banjo, the way that it ends, I'm kind of one of the heroes. When you really, when you go from here, you put the camera back a little bit, Mr. Sawyer takes down a shooter.
Yeah, for sure he does, yeah.
Is there some collateral damage? Yeah, but I mean, he takes down a shooter. It's what it is. So I mean, you remove what made Peltzer become align more with Ronnie. It's the boss of the company taking down a shooter.
Yeah.
So there is this weird gray area where Mr. Sawyer lives, which Liam has always been about. Liam has never really been 100% Mr. Sawyer's a heel or a bad guy. So I mean, he has a lot of bad guy tendencies, and he will go there.
Yeah.
Just think about it. Even if you break down Lawrence's death in My Bloody Banjo,
yeah,
I mean, he's coming there to shoot him for being a dick.
Ma, you can do it. Come on.
You can do it. Go on, shoot yourself. Go on. Join your mum who died seconds ago. Go on.
Mommy's waiting for you.
Look at Mummy's waiting for you.
Come on.
Come on. Go on. White wall as well. He loved it.
Whoopsie fucking daisy!
This guy's awesome, man. He's no one's beat. I don't know if this. When this psycho guy comes in, is he like the imaginary friend? Is he gonna be able to beat him? I don't think he is. Yeah.
He didn't actually do anything to Lawrence yet. I mean, he didn't. I mean, besides violating his personal bubble. What the fuck? I mean, just call HR. What the hell?
Yeah.
You need to come in with a gun and shoot me. So it's like he was defending himself. Did it in a roundabout way by making him kill himself. So it's like, hey, I mean, I could justify Mr. Sawyer's bullshit all day long. All right.
Oh, you're not the only one, my friend. You're not the only one.
Yeah. So, but then you get to eating Miss Campbell, and because Liam's I think Liam sat with Mr. Sawyer for a bit in his head, and I sat with Mr. Sawyer in my head for a bit. That the movie kind of deconstructs Mr. Sawyer a little bit.
Yeah,
I think it's cool. It takes a lot of the power of Mr. Sawyer, his bombasticness, his catchphrases, his proneness to violence. It takes it all away. You know, if you really look at it, it does that. I mean, in the beginning, but then it gets slowly taken away. You know,
Yeah,
where he's
sure.
just left there. And I mean, that's why he's just like, you know, pride, and he has that little moment, and then it's like then he tries to take it all back.
True, mate,
And
100%.
he becomes a darker version of Mr. Sawyer. I think he becomes a darker version, but that's just me.
Yeah, in this one he actually does. That's a mad thing, isn't it? Because although they humanize him, like ultimately, yeah, he actually does. You're right. But there's something you actually mentioned earlier. I'm glad you did. You mentioned you work with Lawrence, and you also mentioned, like, you know, sort of some of the other people you worked with. How was it, like, especially with, like, Lawrence and James, like, sort of coming back after all this time to meet him again? What was it like seeing him for the first time after ages?
I remember Lawrence. I remember coming to cast house / crew house, and I remember came out of nowhere, and he was just like, "Vito!" It got me, gave me a nice hug, and I was like, "Oh wow, I thought you hated me." You know, no, I mean, we got over that. We got over that a while ago because I wasn't entirely sure if he liked me. Then we kept correspondence through you know, through Facebook and everything after
Yeah.
that. So I was like, oh, he must like me.
No,
so-
I bet, yeah.
Like I tell you, it's my stupid actor brain where I just think everybody hates me till proven otherwise.
Ah, go on, fool.
But with James, it was a little different because I didn't get to spend as much time with James. He had that one scene with Beth in the ear, you know, a fucking Van Gogh in the you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
so we wanted more, you know, but it was nice. But it was still nice to see each other. It was still nice to be around each other. It was like, you know, it was just, you know, seeing an old buddy. It was very
Yeah.
nice, especially since it'd been 8 years, and like, oh god, time flies these days. Where it really catches up to you, and it can make you kind of like get a little like, oh god, you know.
Oh yeah.
It's
For sure
just
does, bro.
the amount of time between things. It can kind of sneak up on you and get you in the throat a little bit. So I can't imagine it'll be another 8 years before I see him again.
Like, let's hope not, mate. Innit? Let's hopefully they'll get, like, you know, a
Oh, sorry,
project in
it's
the
already
works, you know?
it's already been 4.
Well, yeah, that's a point actually, mate. That's what you're saying about how time goes so
Exactly,
quick, innit?
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like the time just kind of like all of a sudden we're already halfway towards the next. I mean, like, you know, we're halfway towards the next meeting.
Yeah, that's true. Like, you know, but
Every 8
I suppose that's how the
years.
music, that's how films are done, innit? It's like, you know, they take a while to get made. Obviously, you know, there's a lot that goes into them. But I see what you
Yeah.
mean, what you're saying, innit? It'd be nice to you be able to see him again. But when you live on different sides of the world, it's not like you can just go, oh, do you want to go out to have a chill out, innit? It's a bit of a different scenario, innit? When you're literally on a different side of the world, innit?
And then there's also like the, you know, weird structure of today where, like, you know, it's like you have like great work friends, you have great online friends, but then how do you coexist in the real world, so to speak, you know?
You're right, mate.
I,
Yeah.
I used to get really hurt by that, but now I realize, no, it's just, you know, they're just these pockets, you know, work, you know, online strictly, and then, you know, there's the real world, and you know, or, you know, just it's just I just like have come to be like, that doesn't devalue it. It's just like, you know, just not used to it, you know.
Yeah, of course,
Like
mate. Yeah.
I got buddies that, you know, I meet up with, and it just takes us like a half an hour to figure out how to be around each other in an actual space. And
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying, mate. Yeah.
then you got like pals that, you know, you know, you just start chatting, and you're back to where you were before. You know, no
Yep.
effort whatsoever.
Yeah, of course,
But
mate.
it's just because the start of that friendship was, you know, you were around each other. You know, you weren't forced to be around each other. You weren't obligated to be around each other, and, you know, you were just around each other.
Yeah, of course, mate.
Yeah. But those friendships are easier to spark up a little bit. But yeah, it's just figuring out as you go along on this journey. It's like, okay, it's not any less. Not any less. It's just different.
Yeah, no, you're completely right, my friend. You're completely right. Well, talking of journeys, actually, that leads perfectly into my next question. How was your journey from the USA to the UK this time around? Because I believe you had to do it twice, didn't you? Because of the whole pandemic, for the additional photography, you had to make 2 trips for this one, didn't you?
So the first time going, we had to, it was LA. Now the first time I went to England I was in New York. Much shorter flight. But I was in LA now, so it was a longer flight.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I was gearing up for it, and I remember my mom calling and being very like, "Mijo, you need to get hand sanitizer, you need to get masks before you go. You know, the coronavirus is getting bigger." And I was like, "What coronavirus?" But at this point, it was just kind of like, it was like,
yeah, it was really early into the stages of it,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Like, yeah.
yeah, because when I went over there, it was like it was January. It was January of 2020. So
Yeah.
Because I remember it was like Barrick was been born for like a few months, and Barrick had just been born.
Well, yeah, that's right as
So,
well. Yeah.
he was born for a few months, and then I went over there. So that was another thing. It was like, leaving home for the first time for an extended period of time. So it's kind of coming back to me right now. I'm sorry. I was like,
No,
oh,
that's fine.
because I was trying to feel like, why was it so hard to leave? Because I was like, oh yeah, that's why. Because Eric had just been born, and it was like leaving home was very hard. Like I wanted to go film, but it was like this whole, and but then going back to the Corona thing, my mom was very like mask, and I was like, I don't need no dang mask. I survived the swine flu.
It's facts! It's facts!
I don't need no damn mask. And so I fly over there. I get to Amsterdam because it's one of the connecting flights. I get off the plane and I go through the terminal, and I just see a sea of masks all over the place. And that's the first time it hit me that maybe I should have listened to my mother. Because like every nationality under the sun was wearing a mask. Like different places. So I was like,
yeah, everyone was doing this Sub-Zero cosplay, wasn't he, man, for a good few years, man.
Yeah.
We were all looking like Sub-Zero for a while, weren't we?
I remember before, like traveling, and there'd be like a few people wearing masks here and there, because culturally people would be like, "Oh, I'm sick, so I wear a mask." So the idea that this is like,
it's like a different world, mate. It's like you got on a plane, went to a different dimension, and came out and went, what happened in the time that I went from here to there, like.
Because in America, nobody was wearing masks, man. It was just like, barefaced, naked, raw dog in the air. And then you get over here and everyone's like, safe sex with the air, please. So it's like.
But it happened quick, mate. It was like within the space of a week, people were going from what is like, who's wearing a mask? And in a space of a week, everyone was wearing a mask. It was quick, man. It was very quick.
Yeah.
At this point, unbeknownst to Vito, he didn't actually know. During this interview, he actually had COVID.
Yeah, David Graham, he escorted me to set, and we had to like take a train, and then we walked there, and it was rainy, and I got sick. Once again, I got fucking sick.
It was like straight away, wasn't it?
Oh hell no!
Yeah, but it didn't affect my voice as much. It was just body stuff. So for all I know, I had Corona. I don't know. So I was like, I was just taking a lot of vitamin C. I just remember taking a lot of vitamin C. That was the first trip. And then the second one, I came for additional photography, was having to jump through hoops like a mofo. I don't know if anybody remember. I'm not sure how many people actually travel outside the country.
I don't think COVID. Like it was very few, mate. Most people weren't traveling at the time, were they? Really, like.
Had to like take a test, submit the test, take a test. It was like all these tests, and then going and then presenting paperwork, and having it was like all this extra stuff before you even have to get into like like to go into the damn
It's like a scene
waiting
from
line to play
Resident
stuff.
Evil when you enter in a lab. Let's test you a million times and make sure you're not a
Yeah.
zombie, basically.
Big
isn't it? Yeah.
vaccinations, you have to get your vaccination and your boosters,
Yeah.
and you gotta present your card and everything with all your shots. I mean, it was just like oh wow, and it's just amazing. I mean, just going over there, because there's just like a night and day. Masks, masks all over the place now. So
Yeah.
going over there from America to there and everything. So that was the two different trips was basically that was just like it's so easy to go over there, but with the inkling of Corona. And then the second one was just like, you couldn't move 2 inches without having to give present your vaccination
really
card.
had gotten extreme by that point, hadn't it, mate? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was. I remember just like worried that I was gonna miss. I remember it was just like the stress to get over there. I was afraid I was gonna miss something and then like not be able to come.
What?
And that was just. And also, here's a fun detail that I've told a few times. That between now before I left the first string of shooting, DM had said, "Don't change your appearance. Like don't shave your beard because he in his head we were going to come back for reshoots."
Yeah.
That's cool. And so between the 12 months, what was it? 12, 18 months. Yeah, it was like 18 months. It was 18 months.
Actually sounds about right, yeah.
Yeah, 18 months. I just had Mr. Sawyer face. I had that big beard, the crazy hair.
Yeah, you grew it out to this big time as well, like.
Yeah, and I just kept it, and because he said we could come back, and it was a back and forth of when we were gonna come back and finish filming, and I just kept Mr. Sawyer for freaking a year. Big old beard. I think I've had my run of beards now.
Is it you keeping it short now? Are you're done with the big ones? Like
no, because like I've entered the 4-0, man. I'm like I want to see my face. I kind of like the idea because being an actor sometimes you kind of give over parts of yourself a little bit,
Of course, 100%. Well, like you said,
so
for
like,
ages you were living Mr. Sawyer without playing a role for like 18 months. You were looking like that, and that's dedication, though, mate. That is dedication, though. In fairness to you, man.
Because we just didn't know when we were going to come back for shooting because they would ease up, and then they would get back to being strict, and they would ease up, and they would shut down, open here, there.
It was limbo, mate. No one knew nothing. Yeah. On the first, saying that though, the first time you went over, how much actually? This is something I don't actually know. On the first time you went over, how much did you film there? And when the second time you came over, what did you film in particular the second time, like for the additional photography?
I have a fun. Wait, no, let me finish my beard story because I'm very proud of my beard.
Okay, yeah.
Now, when he told me when we were going to come back, I did the math in my head. I was like 3 months. So I shaved the beard off.
Oh, right.
Just to see my face. I had enough time. I shaved my beard off, and then I was able to grow it back. And somehow, I grew back longer and crazier than it did the first time.
Continue receiving complaints. Vito, when you shot last time, had shorter hair and a more less of a beard. So now I'm going to hair. I'm terrified. This could go badly wrong. This could go really well.
I have no idea how, because when I came to set, they had to cut my beard and trim it down.
Yeah, on the making, I remember that, yeah.
Exactly. In my head, I was like, how did that happen? I shaved it all off. In 3 months, they had to trim the motherfucker down to make it match up with the first time around. I was like, how the hell? They just didn't, like, in like, beard logic, it just did not make sense to me. If you've had a long beard, or to trim or upkeep a beard, it's like, how did that happen?
The Matrix is really
Baffles
cool.
me.
That was a glitch. That was a glitch in the Matrix if there's ever one, bro.
Well,
yeah.
When Liam did the rough edit, he decided to incorporate some things and make things more dynamic, and add in other like plot elements.
Okay.
So they took things around and moved it around. Like I remember, like I had a longer speech in the auditorium, that they now introduced Tusk Everbone.
Oh, so
And
Justin
Bella.
Martell
Yeah.
got introduced later on, did he?
Yeah, and Bella
Oh,
were introduced in the
right,
second.
oh.
They came in and they to accentuate the story and the plot elements. So Bella and Tusk Everbone, you know, Justin and Bella were introduced into the story now to make it more dynamic and to expand
Right.
upon this force that was overseeing Mr. Sawyer's, you know, job. So,
Right, okay.
and to make it more interesting, and also to kind of give Mr. Sawyer an enemy.
Well, yeah, of course, because Tusk becomes, well, he takes your
Yeah.
place, doesn't he, basically, in a film, like, yeah.
Yeah.
Whoopsie fucking daisy.
All right, that was funny. Even though you're dissing Sawyer, which I'm not happy about. I mean, that was funny, to be fair.
Yeah. So, like a lot. Actually, Sawyer got like a lot of additional stuff because it was like Sawyer gets fired was added in. Anything that has Tusk in me was added in additional photography.
That's mad because, like, by that point of the film, actually changed the dynamic of the film up quite a lot. So, in the editing, they would have done a lot of changes in the editing from the first draft to have added that in because that significantly changes the story as well.
And Dietz's death was also added.
That was added in, was it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it was like, yeah, because we couldn't do Dietz's death. Did she die in the first? Like she was like dying and getting resurrected. There were so many drafts where she
So
died.
far,
and
right,
died
she's died
back
3
and
times.
forth.
I watched a making of earlier. They've confirmed she's died 3 times.
No. If you go by story and drafts, she's died like 15 times.
What?
Oh, okay.
You go by script, he's died and been resurrected more than 15 times. So, you know, and I can't remember if we killed her, and then there was a scheduling conflict with Dietz, so she couldn't finish the first leg of shooting. You know,
Oh,
yeah, she was like one point where she had to like disappear, and actually with the James scene, like my James scene, Dietz was originally in that scene.
oh, really?
Yeah, and
Oh,
then
wow.
me and Lawrence just like chopped up her lines and you know
Oh,
took
okay.
on lines that day because it was a scheduling issue or something, and she had to
So that was
leave.
kind of on the spot decision then as well to do that. There was quite a bit of like sort of improvisation, I guess, like sort of
Yeah, it was.
within the
Well, it
roles
was
as
more
well.
like what made sense. Like who I wasn't talking here. Okay, you talk there. It was like, oh, they're talking to
Yeah.
you, so you talk there. You know, so
Oh,
you
fair
know,
play.
and yeah, so me and Lawrence did some juggling there, and I think that's where the like me and Lawrence's relationship really became more playful. It was playful there, but it was more like we were able to take that one little moment when like I hugged him during
Yeah.
the thing.
Here we go. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for that introduction. Come on, people, give it up for Clyde, my #1 guy. Oh, yes, sir.
The guy you hated in the first film.
And like kind of made it from that and made it, you know, different. Because remember, like I said, it's a reflection universe. It's not you know, an exact. You know, so like in this world, maybe they're pals, and maybe Lawrence is a creep, and Mr. Story ain't so bad, you know.
Yeah, but it's bad you bring that up because it
So-
said in My Bloody Banjo, like literally, it's like you completely hate him, but in this, you're best buds and that. And there was a lot of like little things like that I found in this film in particular, like you know what I mean, like yeah, just some differences with characters and that, but it worked. You know what I mean? It was like, but that says a lot about Liam's writing as well, the way that he can like in a way mirror a character and still make him work in certain elements and certain spots and that as well. So respect to Liam on that, man. I gotta say.
Respect.
Well, also like Liam is very open to suggestions. He's open to, you know, he's very easygoing about that. Like I mean, like it's like whatever will work. You know, let's give it a shot.
Okay.
Not like Mr. Like, you know, like this is my script and it's like the Bible. You know, he's not like Quentin Tarantino where it's like you know don't improv. You know.
Yeah.
Like because there's like behind the scenes where like he'll like be like, he's a scream, and like, it's a scream. It's like he's just throw something at me because he sees something that I'm doing, and he's like, oh, go. Here we go, here we go, here we go.
And then she exits. And then that's when you go like, binge and purge, baby! Woo! Binge and purge!
So it's not like in that way of like it's just like he's just jumping in on the energy. He's not like inserting it. He's like he's seeing something and kind of like, oh, let's do a little more, So, and I mean that's just a credit to him and his flexibility, and his like wanting to tell the story right. And sometimes that's exploring things he didn't think about. Sometimes just getting rid of things that he's not like getting rid of excess weight if necessary,
Yeah.
and not just being so hold on to it because it was like on the page, and because there's that sense of like when it's on the page it becomes a Bible. Yeah, but if it doesn't work when we're there, or it works in the script, but maybe when we're there in person it doesn't work out. So it's like, okay, take that out. Let's try this.
I see what you mean. But like, to be fair, you and Liam, like, you've always had like a really good relationship, haven't you? Ever since you seem to have met. This ain't the first time you've worked together, like. But yeah, even on like the making of, like being a fan of the films and watching making of, but you've got like a really good like sort of connection with him. Do you guys keep in contact pretty regularly and stuff still nowadays?
I mean, like it goes like because like we picked up with the what happened after My Bloody Banjo, where we were like just like throwing ideas around each other again, like Mr. Sawyer this, Mr. Sawyer that, Mr. Sawyer and Lawrence, Mr. Sawyer and Lawrence, Thelma and Louise style, where we're just in a car riding around. It's like all these ideas. It just came back to us playing with our imaginations and just kind of like and I mean like let's throw ideas at me, and I remember there's some that I was like. It's like I wanted to say to him, like, I don't know if I'm a good enough actor to pull that off, buddy.
Is that
I literally got, oh yeah. It was like something like, or maybe or like it's not that like how's that gonna be fun?
Oh, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
And things like that, or good enough actor, probably more good enough actor. Yeah, but like at the end of the day, it's like whatever he wants to do is like I'm there. But like sometimes we'll have like these lulls, that's just what happens when you're like online friendship. And then either you're there if he stretches, we're communicating all the time, and then you're just like life comes up.
Oh yeah, of course, and like
We're pretty fair. We're pretty fairly in contact. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool,
so-
right, yeah. Well, talking of like sort of people the friendly with and that, Justin Martell, as you said, mentioned earlier, played Tusk. That's somebody you've worked on with like quite early projects you've done, really. Like so like in 2022 to be on Meeting Miss Campbell, was it a surprise that Justin was involved on this, or were you aware he was going to get involved in it? And like it must have been nice to have been like, hey, we're working together again.
I was aware. I was aware because like he when he got cast or involved, he immediately was like, "Hey, can we let's rehearse?"
Oh,
So-
fair play. Okay.
And because of his busy, he has a very busy schedule because he's a producer of the Joe Bob, driving and everything, and
Yeah.
he's like doing a bunch of movies all over the place. So he has a very busy schedule. So like this was a chance for us to hang out and like rehearse, hang out. It was nice. It was nice. It was like fast forwarding back to the old days.
Yeah,
All or
I
nothing
get that
days,
feeling. I get that feeling, mate. Yeah, for sure. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like the chemistry between you two is just like, do you know what? It was mad. The first time I watched Eating Miss Campbell, I didn't realise it was him. It took me the second viewing to go, oh, that's Justin Martell. But like, I didn't realise the first time. So like, upon the second viewing, it was like, oh, what? Like, but that's so cool, like, innit? Because you guys known each other from back in the day. 2020, you're making another film and you're together. That's really cool, I reckon, mate, to be honest, like.
Oh yeah, it was definitely a unforeseen perk. I was like, oh wow. And then we traveled together to go to England and everything, so it was like, it was nice all around. It was just like the old days when we'd go make a movie and then we travel somewhere and but yeah, it was. I mean, my pal.
Fair play to him, mate. The other thing I wanted to mention as well, sort of Blade as well. Like, unfortunately, sort of passed away during the shooting because he was going to be involved in this one. And I know that he was a friend of yours as well. Like, I'm really sorry to hear about that. But like, sort of, you know, how did you? Well, obviously how he felt, but like going into shoot, it must have been a bit hard knowing sort of like, you know, the loss of him and then going into a project. But I guess a lot of this, if he had looked back and looked at it, it'd be like a lot of it was like, you know, respected and represented to him in the making. I saw there was a lot of like love for, like, a lot of people thought the world of him. That's what I'm getting at. And like, I just want to say I'm sorry to you about that as well, my friend. But if you do want to talk about Blade in any way, man, he seemed like a really cool guy, man.
I met Blade on Return Nukem High,
Oh,
where he was a Cretan. He came as like an actor person Cretan for like these big like attacking the school sequences. And I remember he came. He was his look was very similar to my look. You know, so they done him up, and I remember him coming up and being like, "Hey, brother, I mean, like, I love, I love what you got going on there, man. You look like Demolition, man. That was my favorite, you know, that's my favorite tag team growing up, Demolition." I was like, I'm more of a Road Warriors guy. He's like, "Oh no, man, Demolition, brother, Demolition, man. Spikes. Oh, I love Demolition. I love Demolition, brother." And and then from there, it was just like, once again, it was this online friendship where you accentuate the positive. Yeah, because he would just be, he's just like this, in the dark ether of the internet, you would just be this positive voice that would come out of nowhere and be like, you know, like, "Hey, brother, I love that monologue you did for Occupy Cans, man. I mean, that was some promo shit, man. If you know, that was on television, next day they would have had a T-shirt that said bullshit, you know."
Well, fair play to him. Fair play to the
Yeah,
guy. Like,
he was like, and then we'd always talk about, like, kind of like with the Liam thing, where, you know, we just, that's our imaginations. He would daydream projects to do together, and like, "Hey, I have this idea for this wrestler, man. I think you should come down and play him. It'd be really awesome." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's good, man. Yeah, get going. I'm there." You know, I just, you know, like a lot of dreaming, a lot of daydreaming. That with the still the hope that at some point we would do them. You know? So,
yeah.
but it was still like this positive voice. I remember I remember him going out being like, he was like, he would like mention, unprompted, would mention, "Hey man, I watched Mr. Bricks, and man, your intensity, man, it's like Chris Benoit levels. I mean, you're not supposed to mention Chris Benoit, but I mean, like, I mean, just how intense you are." I'm like, "Okay, thanks." But, he was always coming out. He was also a big fan of Mr. Sawyer. When he was like,
okay.
"Mr. Sawyer's coming back, man. I'm so excited, man. I'm so excited. Mr. Sawyer's coming back. I'm so excited." And I'm like, he was there. He was there for the first strum of the, you know, we were there together. We hung out and we watched wrestling together, and, you know, went to a wrestling event. And, you know, it was kind of strict. So I was like, I haven't been, I've been, it's like we met up in LA, you know, and hung out there. And it was just like, it's so interesting how, like, you know, because of like Return to Nukem High was such a positive experience for me,
Yeah.
that anybody that's connected to that, I have a lot of leeway with, and I have a lot of, like, you know, like, fondness and respect and, you know, love for. So, and I think a lot of people feel the same way, because when we get together with some of those folks, it's like you just transport them. We're back in Niagara Falls, man, and that's how it was with Blade. Even though Blade was there for a short time, but my experience with him was so positive and was so fun that, you know, we just, you know, transport and go back. And then when we were on eating Miss Campbell, it just felt the same way, man. So, yeah, I miss, sometimes I just be like, what's missing from this equation? Like, if I'd done something, I just miss something. I miss that positive voice that comes out of the darkness and it's just like, "Hey man, I saw this thing, man. It was awesome, man. How you doing?" It's like, "Man, how you doing anyway, brother? What's up?" You know, that's a positive voice and like a whole lot of cynical and complainers.
Yeah, but people like that you'll always respect and always think of, man. And the thing is, they live on in your memory. You know, people who are just honest and straightforward. Like, you'll never forget people like that, man. And I never met him, but he seemed like a really cool man, like really cool dude. I know a lot of people were affected by him, man. So he seemed like a good inspiration on everyone, to be fair, mate.
And it's just these days people just gotta ask more questions. Anything, just ask more questions. Be more curious. If something's up.
It's a hard subject, though, my friend, isn't it? Because a lot of people are
Oh,
so
yeah.
good at hiding away
it
things
is.
you will never know as well. So it's kind of like you can, that's why you can never let it eat you inside. Because at the end of the day, some people are so good at keeping away because they're that caring. They don't want to bother everyone else, and it's just like, man, you were so caring, you kept it away from me that well. Like, but mate, it's a hard situation, but you can't ever like let it eat you inside or ever think there was nothing you didn't do. I know I'm positive of the fact he always looked at you, Liam, and everyone else as good people in his life. You know what I mean?
Plus, there's the whole thing of like, if you falter, you get to come back. That's the thing that sometimes I
That
think
is so
that
true,
people forget these days that just because you might slip a little bit or you might you get to come back.
It's true, man. It's so true.
So,
It's so true, man.
and the shame of the moment can be so much. So that's why it's like you gotta talk about these things. You gotta get it out there, and you gotta let Yeah, I don't know if that makes any sense. Where it's like if bad things happen, I mean, and there's the few things that you can't do and come back from. But I mean, like in general, I mean, you can come back.
No, you're fully right, mate. I agree with you on that totally. 100%, my friend. 100%. Well, talking about sort of like challenging subjects in general, mate, like sort of coming back to you, Miss Campbell, what was like sort of some of your most challenging parts of the filming? Was because I know on the making at one point, it's like you pretty much close to pass out, don't you? There's a scene, I think it's when you're doing the shooting up at the end, you literally physically become exhausted and you pretty much like pass out on that, don't you? Like, you know what I mean? So like, was that like the most challenging part of the film for you, or?
Well, because it was something that didn't happen to me very often. Like I'm known for having a bit of a I got a pretty good gas tank. You know what I mean? So it was just like we were doing coverage for we were doing coverage for the Mean Girls, and I was going all out to give them something to react to, and just when it was like a few moments before it got to be my turn, it was just like our bar went down. I was like, oh crap. Which is like so. Like I said, I gotten sick, so I wasn't entirely sure if
Well, yeah.
And this was in the first run. This is the first run before COVID. So it was like
This,
I thought I
this was the
doing this-
first time. Was it? Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff was like so. I just remember like being like very like I had like a pow with Liam, and I was like, but I didn't. I told him I didn't feel like I had it, and then I remember him being like, "Got this, man. Got this. Got this. Dude, we do as much as we need to do as get. You can do this." And then it was just like I don't know if it was just like a moment of like this pep talk, being in the moment, just like and we did it. So and I remember one of the makeup people came up to me and was like, "That was great" afterwards, and I was like, "Exactly what I needed to hear. Thank you."
Yeah.
Like it's not from a director, it's not from the other actors. When it comes from random crew, that's when you know you may have done something. But that was nice to hear, and credit to Liam for being there for me, helping me get back up. And then the second time on the second trip, it was before it was actually the last day. It was the boardroom scenes and Dietz's death.
Oh yes, I remember. On the making
Like those,
of it, the deed death's the last thing you filmed as well.
yeah,
Wasn't it?
yeah. I had puked my guts out the night before.
Oh really?
I had eaten something from the continental breakfast at the hotel that we were at. Something did not sit well with my stomach, and then I was
Oh
just
shit, man.
throwing up for a very. It was like one of those, like, when you're on the toilet and you're thinking about life choices, and you're like, oh god, this sucks, and
Yeah, 100%, mate.
so I remember my abdomen was like hurting and shit. I was like, up this shit. So, but yeah, and I pulled through. I mean, you would. I hope you didn't realize that I was up. I was like
I was
up
gonna
the night
say,
before,
like,
puking my
until you
guts out.
said, I didn't know, because, like, when you do the scene, like, I wouldn't have noticed you were ill or whatever. Like, you done it fine, like, you know what I mean? In my opinion, bro. But
Or the behind the scenes where I'm there with Beth, chit chatting with Beth. I'm like, but yeah, I mean, those are two things that happen. But I mean, those are like things that, like, like, are separated from the actual filmmaking process. It's more like me getting sick and then having to deal with it in that environment. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's just when no one can control that, but well, the people who could
Yeah.
control that is the bloody chefs who served you that food. Are they Russian spies by any chance, sir, trying to stop the production of eating Miss Campbell or something?
I don't know. Maybe I ate too many sausages. Who knows?
Who knows,
Oh.
man? What? Because, do you know what funny enough? Talking about the making of, right at the very end, Liam actually puts in a title, we will be returning with Mr. Sawyer.
And then me and Vito will make Banjo 3, I'm sure.
Is that actually sort of anything he's actually come up to with, like, I got a script at the moment, or at the moment, is it still sort of like, it's going to happen, but we haven't got an idea? Because he seems really keen on getting, like, a part 3, and he's 100% getting you involved by the looks of it. So have you actually spoken to Liam about part 3, or is this still in the process of ideas and creating
It's still a process.
story?
It's still a process of ideas, and plus Liam, with his production with his distribution company and Refused Films, and and being demand, because he is talented. He's a talented young man.
He's non-stop,
That-
bro.
you know, he-
Every time I'm on Facebook,
Yeah.
he's here, there, everywhere. He's non-stop. Fair play to the guy.
Yeah, I mean, like, I can't do that. I mean, flying around left and right, I'm like, fuck that shit.
Yeah, I'm the same.
But so it's like, it's like whatever's gonna happen. When it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen, and I'll be there. Be there with bells on. It doesn't matter, like, if it's one of the ideas that I'm like, I don't know if I'm a good enough actor for that. I'll give it a shot. I'll give it my all. But because, like, he's my pal, and I'll be like, go do it.
100%, mate.
It's whatever
And
he wants
really
to
thinks
do.
a lot of you as well, bro. Like, I know that, like, he's got a lot of respect for you. He said, even in just in the making of, like, if you watch a making of, you can see he thinks a lot of you, and your acting and what you bring to film. So if he ever does a part 3, like, I'm sure, like, yeah, man, you coming back together. But what's going to happen? How are we going to do it? This is where I'm more keen. I'm like, how are they going to do it? Is he actually going to be a similar Mr. Sawyer? Is he going to be a completely different Mr. Sawyer? Is he going to be, what I mean? These are all these, like, things in my head where I'm as a fan, bro, I'm like, I'm rubbing my hands here going, if they do a part 3, mate, I'm 100% watching that,
Well, actually, can I tell one story from production? I thought that was funny.
100%, like,
Okay.
yeah.
So it was Dietz's death scene, where it was like in the script it was shoot her, and then he crushes her head. In the script, he
Oh, wow.
crushes her head. Yeah.
Oh.
So, but that was gonna be like an insert later. It's gonna be like someone else's foot, and the good old melon, effect. But then it was like we had this discussion of like spit or crush her head. Yeah.
Right, okay. Yeah.
It was like, and then we had like a back and forth where I was like, it's like, okay, so I shoot her, I spit on her, and then I crush her head.
Ooh, you like the freaky stuff, huh? That's cool.
Or I crush her head, then I spit on her. Like, I think like that was like, so it was like shoot, crush, spit, crush, spit. is that too much? Do I need to spit? I mean, we're crushing her head. Do I need to spit? It was like a thing. It was like, did I spit?
Yeah.
It was like a thing about like, should I not spit? One or the other. And if you watch the movie, I thought he was gonna call for, he's just gonna call it. I thought he was just gonna call for, crush. But if you watch me closely, I'm looking down at her. And I'm literally leaning a little bit this way just so I can lift my leg up to do the motion.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
For the insert. And I remember he said to the camera, spit. And I was like, oh. And I was like waiting for a second. Is he gonna call the crush now?
Camera set. Action. But I fucking hate pedophiles.
Okay, no crush. And that's when I leave.
Right.
In his moment, he made like an executive decision where he was like, just let's do the spit. You know, it was like because in my head, I thought that spinning and crushing was too much, but in the moment he was like in the moment he like decided I want spit instead of crush.
Okay. Yeah. I think I worked out better though, to be honest, because like that's something you should bring up.
I don't know. I don't know if he liked something that was going on with my face and wanted to make sure that he didn't like lose that with the motion of like me like doing a crushing thing, or whatever.
Honestly, the reason I prefer to spitting is because of the acting. It was like that part of the film to me is like the most sort of intense sort of because when you watch a film, you watch it like with a laugh. Obviously, it's taken quite funny, but that scene in particular was very like. When I watch it, I was like, whoa, fair play. That's like a very serious scene. But the reason for that, another reason we mentioned earlier about the slight humanizing of Mr. Sawyer, it's always so mad. He only goes against Dietz because she's sleeping with younger students. Mr. Sawyer knew nothing about that. And then he screw him over. And this is where that whole thing goes like, hold on. Yeah, he does some bad things, but dude, he's justified in this. Like, maybe unorthodox, but he's justified,
Well, Dietz serves him up a nice betrayal sandwich. It's the bread, and she says, I was like, okay, I'm cheating on you. I'm lying to you. I'm cheating on you with a minor. Yabba do, I got you fired, yabba, and then just serves it up to Mr. Sawyer, basically, So it's so when he comes at her, I mean, and plus like there's like that whole thing about nudity, and if you look at like the nudity that's in the movie, it is not 100% exploitive, which is sometimes like you see with these movies, like they got boobies and booty flying everywhere.
Yeah.
But here it's like because like the one with Bella, it's an A24 joke.
Was an A24 film, it would be classed as brave and progressive.
What?
So is that like a diss towards A24, is it? Are you guys going to war? Is that what's happening, yeah? Troma versus A24? I'll go on Troma's side, fuck it.
Well, duh.
If this was an A24 movie, this would be like so, this, that, and this would be like so empowering. Which I thought it was great because like you're serving up some boobies, but then you're serving up a really good commentary joke,
Exactly.
And then the scene with Dietz where she's nude. If you're getting titillated by that, you got some fucking issues.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Because like he's got a gun on her, he's gonna kill her.
Yeah.
It's not a sexy scene. It's a little bit. It's violating. She's naked, about to get killed. It's like this isn't like a ooh la la scene. She's about to get killed.
He was a child.
See,
A fucking child.
he hates it. Vito, you're a fucking legend, bro, in every single way, like.
I'll always love you.
I'll always love you, but you're fucking dead. I mean, he killed the kiddie fiddler. You can't feel bad.
I fucking hate pedophiles.
Yeah, like in a way, fully respect me. Unorthodox, respect them. Yeah.
In the most vulnerable place bathrooms, showers are places that should be the most like comfortable, secure areas. That's when you're at your most vulnerable.
True.
It's why like Psycho, the shower scene was so haunting for America when it came out because it was like, wait, you're not supposed to do that in the shower? How dare you?
Yeah.
So like I mean, there's a credit to Liam that he like put in nudity, but he put it in a way that made it it had meaning and it counted.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wasn't
like I
just
say,
there
that's
for
100%
like,
true. Because, as I said, that particular scene is the most serious scene of the whole film, I would say, in my opinion. Although there's a lot of commentary about, like, serious subjects, it's all kind of played more fun. But that scene in particular, when you watch it, it's like the way you walk off and everything is like, oh, that's a long, drawn-off walk. There's no, like, jokes here. That's a very serious... Like, if you just showed me that segment and I didn't see the rest of the film, I'd be like, oh, this is, like, a very serious horror film. But... Again, respect to Liam, how in a film where it's quite fun, there's a lot of like self-awareness. That scene in particular, he pulls off this like you said, like a psycho-esque, like in the moment I watched it, because when you watch me on a Duddle Spud, I'm like, fucking hell, I mean, I'm not really making jokes about it. I'm just like, fucking hell, he just killed it, because that feeling came through. So respect to him, man. Like, when it calls for it, he knows how to change tones, but in a good way without it being so jarring. And also on the making, that was like the last scene, right, that you filmed for Miss Campbell. When it was all done there and then, like, what was like your initial thoughts? How was your reaction? It was all done. You were like, how were you feeling at the time?
I was just tired. I could remember I was up the night before. It was just like, and there was the 18 months of waiting. It was just like a load off. It was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was like okay. It was just like a nice release. I mean, not for Liam, because Liam had to go into post.
Yeah, of course.
For me, it was nice and relaxing. Liam still had to keep the burden on his shoulders, and probably still does to a certain degree with the distribution element of it, but a nice release, and I don't know, just that like feeling of accomplishment that you wish that you could, ask in a little bit more in the moment. Like, you wish you could just take it in more, but in the moment you're just like, oh, it's like, okay, I did my job, I'm done. Okay.
Yeah, well, you've done what you have to do, man. Like, but as you said, like, because you had to come twice for it in a whole gap and that. As much as it's like you love doing the film, but yeah, I can imagine it was a moment of like it's done at the same time. Like, yeah, I can just imagine. But then, because obviously you got to wait for some time, like you said, for it to be edited. So it was a while till you actually saw the final product as well, then, isn't it? From that stage.
And like we're going back to like the switching of tones. Now this is what Liam picked up from Troma, but has done his own thing with, the mixing of genres, where it doesn't have to be, it's like the buffet of filmmaking, where it's like, hey, you want a little seriousness? There's a little seriousness. You want a little satirical action? There's a whole lot of satirical action. You want some comedy? Here's some comedy. So you go in there, you get a whole lot. And you get a bang for your buck, basically. It's a bargain bazaar of like genres.
Yeah, it's like multi-genre film in one, like, isn't it? What do you want? He's got it covered, like, yeah, fair play to him.
Hey, you can't really fit it into a particular hole, So, but Liam tends to go more on the dark side of things, like Troma After Dark, so to speak, where he will dive into a lot of topics that are like, very taboo, but like hey, power to him, man. He's got the cojones to be like, come at me, say what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
So I mean, brass cojones, as they say. But because it's all necessary. I mean, that's like, especially with the satirical nature of the movie, because it's like it does. People like they look over a lot of it. They look over a lot of the things that the movie touches upon, which is really annoying. And that it talks about, like, basically it's like. Though the movie embraces guns, it's kind of saying like, "Hey, in England we have gun control, and we don't really have shootings here." Or like, where it's saying that stuff, where it's like saying it, but then masking it in this crazy story, where it's like, "Hey, maybe we need to talk about gun control. We need to talk about guns and safety, and like, because like and you need to broach the subject that talks about it in a satirical way that might piss you off." But at least you're talking about the subject, because
exactly, man. Yeah.
Because think about there's that Jenna Ortega movie that came out, and she's one of the hottest actresses around, she did a school shooting movie that was well received, got lights of critical acclaim, but nobody really knows about. You
Yeah, I
know,
was going to say, because you actually told me about that film. I had no idea until you mentioned
yeah.
that film to me. I was like, what film's this?
I
had no
don't even
idea.
remember I don't remember the title. I was like, I was
Yeah.
like, but like, get that, and people like will like emotionally be like, oh yes, but they won't like, but like you can make all these movies about school shootings and they're taken very seriously, but like none of them piss you off enough to be like, hey, what are we doing about gun control?
Mm.
What are we doing
Yeah.
about like hey, maybe mental health awareness and like getting people the right amount of help, so people that don't pick up a gun and start making a whole lot of terrible life choices. It's just like like that's why you need satirical films. That's why you need films that like really rub you the wrong way sometimes when you're watching it, because it's like, I mean, people will tune out and not focus on the things they don't want to. I mean, like eh, no one wants to think about these things. The
Yeah.
problem is that those don't get solved, and then always something else comes up, something else comes up, something else comes up, and it's just this huge stack of shit
Yeah.
that it's like this huge stack of shit that's in the room that everybody's ignoring, even though you can see it, you can smell it, you may have stepped in it.
Yeah.
Like, so you need people and like different outlets and different people to be like, would you please acknowledge the stack of shit over there in the room, please? Oh, you don't like the way I'm
Exactly,
saying it? Well, guess what? Maybe you should clean up the shit.
Shit.
And I won't have to say it like this.
It's so true, isn't it? So, just before we on this, I do want to actually say fair play to Liam Regan. He's actually dropped Blu-rays of this as well. Eating Miss Campbell. It's all signed and stuff as well. If you check in the description, I got a little unpackaging, but I fully recommend going to his Cartel website. You can also go through Troma. I'll put all the links in the descriptions, but really good filmmaker. If it sounds interesting to you, I fully suggest supporting it and getting yourself a copy. But on that note, dude, was there any sort of last thoughts on Eating Miss Campbell? Sort of anything maybe I didn't mention, anything we weren't covering, or, in particular, what are you feeling about the whole process, my dude?
Well, I just want to say, I mean, I just think it's a great movie that needs to get out there a little bit more. It has a lot of love. It has a lot of love, but I think it deserves a little bit more in my opinion. I mean, because Lindsay's great in it, Lala's great in it. I mean, everyone that's in the movie puts forth like all this so much effort and so much like emphasis on character. It's a great movie. It needs to get more love because everyone does a great job in it. And I had a great time on it. So I was like, it's one of those things where you're like needs to get more love.
Yeah.
But it has strong love right now, but I mean, like, get past your bullshit and actually just watch the movie like it was as if it was a Mel Brooks film, for fuck's sake. All right, Mel Brooks did a lot of crazy shit, and everyone pats him on the head. So I'm like, come on.
Exactly. But we need more of these kind of films, in my opinion, nowadays, because everything's gone a bit stale. So when you get something a bit outside the box, it's like, welcome it, mate. I want something different, like,
I mean, because you could argue that the scary movies did that, but they didn't. It wasn't an insert of social commentary, put it that way.
Yeah, not the way
That's
that
the thing,
Miss Campbell did it.
Yeah, those movies and the other ones that come out, like they make fun of the movies, but they don't have. They're making fun of the movies. They're parody
They're
movies.
just
They're
pure
not making.
parodies.
They're not,
That's it, isn't it? Basically.
yeah. And that they're not making any comments like Miss Campbell does. I play Mr. Sawyer again.
100%. And Liam, if you're watching it, buddy, I know that you know as well. Like, but come on, bro. Sooner than later, you know what I mean? Sooner than later, like, let's get another 10 Mr. Sawyer films. Like, right, I'm not just saying I'll rob a bank, buddy. I'll fund you, Liam. That's all I'm saying. I'll find ways to fund you, Liam. Just saying, if you'll make another 10 Mr. Sawyer films. Anyway, talking about projects and films, what have you got upcoming, my dude? I'm going to pass the mic to you, and I'm going to let you talk about what you might have on. Well, what can you talk about, shall I even say?
I'll just list off so we don't. I mean, you got Bring on the Dam. That's coming out. I had a little cup of coffee on that set, and Black Eyed Susan, another cup of coffee. Just there for a little bit. Yeah, Black Eyed Susan. What was it? Ashes, just finished up Ashes, that been with Justin Morales. Working on that one.
Like a little genie
I'm-
guy
I'm
in
in-
there or something in you.
Yeah. The Killer Cox. I mean, I did a little cameo for a bigger part in the sequel, which is that's actually be a very fruitful project, because it's like spanning off into a bunch of other projects that are like kind of
There's a lot of
materializing.
support behind that, dude. I'm seeing that
Yeah.
posted up, and I'm seeing a lot of people backing that one in particular.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Fair play, man. They've
That's
seen
because of
the motion right.
the writer director James. I mean, he's man's got gumption right now. He's got a lot of passion. So he's pushing on through.
He's just
so.
getting to people. He's contacting me. He's like, "Here's the idea. Let's get you involved in everything." Well,
Oh,
that's what
yeah.
we gotta do, innit?
It's like one of those guys that he like woke up and said, "Why the fuck not?" And then
Should we go into our little quiz part, Vito? I'm going to surprise you with a little
Sure.
quiz, right? 10 questions. I'll be honest.
Okay.
Some are obvious questions. Some are complete, like, troll questions. So just out of curiosity, let's see how much you know your movies. Should we go into it, my dude?
oh, what? Oh, fuck me. Okay, let's go.
Oh shit. Here we go again.
Love it.
Like, you're gonna quiz me on my movies?
It's going to be funny, Bo. It'll be funny, this one, Bo.
This is like a lose-lose. If I know, I'm a mark. If I lose, it's like I said, I lose.
Well, the way I look at it, anyone watching this is going, Mac there is a little bastard going out of his way to try and troll him. And if you actually surprise me with some of the answers, then I look like the dickhead. So it's all positives on you, my friend. The power of positive murder. If you get annoyed enough, just do that to me, alright? So, first question, Vito, my friend. This relates to
Okay.
science team. How many people does it take to drag Chip out of the bedroom when he's... The scene when the woman has... I told you there'll be a few odd little troll questions.
What the fuck?
How many people?
Oh.
I know this is a
23.
guess, but... 23. 8. Is 8 people who drag you out of the bedroom. 8.
Felt like there was 23 in there.
Look at this. That's gutting the second you just like been wanked off. Yeah, look at that. It's taking all out. It should have been 23. That would be more realistic in my opinion, because Chip's an absolute beast. But there we go, there's that. Right, so in your movie Maggots, right, my friend? This is another troll question. They're not all going to be trolls, but it's a bit of a troll question. Who were on the poster? When you headbutt the wall, there's a poster. What is the poster and who is on it? I told you I was going to troll you, my friend. I told you.
I don't know who.
Bullshit.
It's a Regan and Bush 84 rally.
Designed with the intent of communicating.
I'm already loving where this is going though.
He's headbutting a wall, boo.
I knew it was a president.
Yeah, I know. But they'll get easier, right? So, here's one you're probably going to remember. What is your final line that your character says in Maggots? When you're winding him up, he's about to go out the door. What's the last thing you say to him?
Pussy, itch.
Carry on, keep thinking. There's a particular line. What's your final line you say as he's walking out the door?
I mean, like, oh no, what is it?
This is gonna wind you up, but I know.
It is.
5, 4, 3. Have a nice day at school, honey. This is hilarious.
Have a nice day at school, honey.
That's your final line.
I don't know the shit I said.
Mate, you won't be defeated because we're
Oh.
definitely gonna get some easy ones here, bro. When you so Assassinaut, right? Your movie Assassinaut. When your character is talking to the kids on the beach, what did he promise he would do if he survived a brutal space explosion? What did he say he would promise himself to do as the kids found him? What's one of the first things that you say to the kids?
I take the day off.
But I just survived a brutal space explosion. And I made a promise to myself that if that ever happened, I would take the rest of the day off.
Commander, she's going to die if we don't help her.
He's got a completely good point, though. Hey! Yeah, boy. There we go. He's got it, man. Right then, so we're going to go to Miss Campbell, one we spoke about today. Let's see how much we can get out of this one, dude. What quote does Justin Martell, who plays Tusk, steal from your character? What does he say to you that you're known for saying?
Whoopsie fucking daisy. What the heck?
There we go.
Owen Sawyer. Whoopsie fucking daisy.
Some easy ones in here. I said I would, you know what I mean? Awesome, right? Right. How many years in a row was Mr. Sawyer awarded regional manager by Reams for Less? How many years in a row in particular?
8.
I give you another chance. It's less than 8.
7.
I give you one last chance. It's less than 7.
5.
There it is. There it is. There it is. 5 years in a row, my friend. Perfect.
What happened to the man who was Reams for Less Regional Manager of the Year 5 years in a row?
Right. Last one about Miss Campbell. When Mr. Sawyer goes on a shooting spree, what is written on the yellow shirt of the guy that you shoot in the stomach? What is printed on the yellow shirt?
That's the thing is, I was like, wait, are you trying to get me? Like, you're trying to like...
Mate, I told you, these are troll questions, most of them. Like, it's all for troll, like, to be honest. Like,
No lives matter. Or is it all lives matter?
It's not no. You're so close. It's not no. I'm close to giving it to you. It's not the word no, but if everyone is included, it's...
All lives.
There it is. All lives matter, and he shoots him. There it is, my friend. Yeah, awesome, awesome.
I just didn't want to say the exact. I just didn't want to say the entire phrase.
Yeah, but there it is. There it is, my friend. You know what it is, right? So this is just a random question now about Mr. Brooks, right? What does Mr. Brooks and Return to Nukem High have in common with a character that you have played? What have you done in Mr. Brooks? You've also done in Nukem High, different characters, but what have they both done in a film that's the same thing? What action have they both performed in particular?
What?
Think about it. So, here's a little clue, right? You know, in Nukem High, there was something you were doing right before you transform that you also do in Mr. Brooks. If I was to play a keyboard, here's some ideas. If I was to play a keyboard, what am I doing?
Sing. We both sing.
No, it's Vito's turn. Go on, Vito. There it is. Awesome, yeah. So, like, as random as that is, but I told you I was going to mess about with you, my dude. Go on, bro. Right, we've got 2 left, right, my dude? 2 left. In My Bloody Banjo, what does Mr. Sawyer say has more pride than James's character, who plays Pelter? What does he say? There we go. Don't need to go on with that. Absolutely amazing.
There's more pride in this piece of paper than there is in your whole worthless entire being.
He's like a super evil David Brent, isn't he? Like, last one, Bill. What do you throw at James in his face in Bloody Banjo? What item in particular do you throw in his face?
Disc, a floppy disk. Or, you know,
there we go.
Pay attention to me, little shit.
Amazing, bro. Amazing. Thank you very much for that, Vito. You've actually got that. I think I'll double check the count. I think you got about 6 out of 10 there, bro. And keep in mind, I purposely went on my way to do troll questions. Good job, man. Good job too, to be fair, mate. Like,
respect. West Side.
I really appreciate your time, honestly, and so sorry about the technical difficulties earlier. Discord, I'm having a word with you. Discord. You're weird, like. But my friend, when you get your new projects and they're done, if you want to do it again, bro, I'd be more than happy to, like, you know, speak about any of your new films coming up. I, as a fan, can't wait. You guys can't wait. You know you guys can't wait as well, like. But mate, if there's anything you want to say now or anything else, here it is. So otherwise, until next time, my friend.
You listen to this, what is this, chapter 8, 9? Or...
Chapter 8?
Chapter 8, if you've listened this far, I'm sorry. And I appreciate you putting up with my silly ass. Thank you very much.
It should be the other way around, mate. It's like the fact I've dragged you out here, you know what I mean? What people don't know is off screen there, bro, there's a guy with a sniper there, and Vito's not doing this out of choice, bro. Like, you know what I mean? I'm just saying. So, thank you, Vito. That's all I'm going to say. I really appreciate your time, brother. But, yeah, until next time, I can't wait for your new movies to come out. You know I'm going to be checking them out. And when they come out, what we'll do them, like, in singular, because, like, you know, there'll be a bit of a gap. When they've officially coming out, bro, if you're happy, we can have a little talk about them, like, you know, each in parts as well. I can cover them as well. But yeah, thank you very much, Vito. I really appreciate your time. And anyone watching, absolute legend. Give love to Vito. Check out his movies. All the links in the description for like extra stuff. So until next time, thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you, guys.
Peace.
Maniacal Mac.